but there's TikTok bans happening. Here to talk about that, Corey Perlman, our keynote speaker from social media. He's one of our favorite guests. You can certainly go to his website, CoreyPerlman.com or ImpactSocialMedia.com. Corey, what's going on? We got bans happening again. With is this a real thing, or is this a Cold War between the administration and TikTok?
Well, the breaking news is we were coming down to the wire here, and according to Trump, they have a framework in place for them to divest ownership to more U.S.-based companies so that TikTok can stay alive and well in the States.
Corey, when you say divest ownership, what's the percentage that they, I guess, have to give up?
Well, Trump wants 51%. I'm not sure it's going to get there yet. We don't know what the percents are going to be. But the key for us in the U.S., supposedly, is the data. And they're saying that the data will be owned by a U.S.-based company.
So here's my question. What does it do to businesses? Because, look, TikTok is more than just a social media time suck for kids. It's actually a business model for many businesses, and it's a business model and it's a source of information, unfortunately, because I personally went to the University at Google, which is way better than the University of TikTok. But what does it really mean for business in terms of businesses that are involved deeply with TikTok as a business model?
So here's what I would say. It's still a very young demographic. So if your demographic is somewhere between 26 and younger, then TikTok's definitely a place you want to plant your flag. But as I say about all social sites, and this includes you guys, Sully, be careful about putting everything in one basket because it is rented land.
Yeah.
And what I said could easily change. And the next thing you know, they could pull the rug from underneath you.
Corey, what do you think about if there actually is a deal? Do you think we're going to actually get the same recommendation algorithm that ByteDance created? I mean, are the Chinese willing to give that up? And then why is there any kind of time pressure at all if there's a law passed, signed by the president, and it's just been extended? Can't we kind of stay in this limbo for longer?
In perpetuity.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think has been happening and could continue to happen. Is I do think that Trump really wants this to work so he can keep pushing it out. And the big question is Congress going to pass it? And so, yes, it could get the stone could continue to get pushed down the path. And businesses just need to recognize that until we have something in place, they are very vulnerable, and so are their followers and their audience.
Hey, Corey, I've got a question for you. You just mentioned don't put your eggs in one basket. There's a lot of people that follow the show, a lot of people that watch the show. We get emails all the time, and some of them have pretty significant followings because they like to attach their cart to our wagon, so on and so forth. So let's say you've got a company or a brand out there that has significant following in a certain, not necessarily just TikTok, maybe there's other ones. How do you transfer that following? Because you don't want to keep your eggs in one basket. How do you cross-promote those things?
It's a great question. So what I often will say is try to get your followers to turn into email lists because you can own that data, right? So anything that you can do to control the controllables. And so we'll often tell businesses to run contests, to do opt-in contests, things of that nature, to exchange a follower for an email address. And that way, if God forbid the worst thing happens, you still have that database to work off of.
Corey Perlman is a social media keynote speaker. He's owner of Impact Social Media Inc. Website, CoreyPerlman.com, ImpactSocialMedia.com. Corey, I just saw a video the other day of a kid trying to film something up on a skyscraper in Los Angeles, stumbled, fell off the building. Obviously, we know what happened to him. As far as the parameters and the warnings or the fact, will TikTok get to the point where they just don't allow stuff like that to be seen anymore?
That's a $1 million question. I really don't know the answer to that. I think that I sure hope so. As a dad of a teenage daughter, there's we could have a whole conversation around that. But we'll see what U.S.-based companies get involved and how much they want to put parameters in place to keep us safe. At this point, I'm not holding my breath.
You know, the other thing too is that dark web stuff happens, and I will tell you, whatever side of the political fence you're on, I don't need to see a Charlie Kirk. I don't need to see anyone get shot in the neck and fall back. Look, I mean, there's enough. If I want to see it, I'll go drop down my $20 and go to a movie theater and watch that. But it's a very, very fine line there, and it's a very dangerous conversation because you're talking about banning, and you're talking about
censorship.
You're talking about censorship.
Yep.
But at some point, there's got to be some sort of a moral standard that goes, and it already exists. Okay, it exists with full frontal nudity. It exists with certain with certain words on the internet. I mean, look, it's not illegal, it's not censorship, but there's just this understanding that maybe that our kids don't need to see a little bunny get turned into red mist because of an AK-47 in a video, right?
And you would hope that the companies would take ownership over that. You would hope that the government wouldn't have to step in. And I think that's what all of us hope for, is that these companies take all that into consideration and put some guidelines and guardrails intact so that our kids don't suffer.
Yeah, I think the question is what's next, right? What is going to be the latest in terms of what's going to be the 3.0 in terms of social media, right, which really is where we're at. What do you think happens if you put your crystal ball in front of you?
Well, I think that I think a deal will be made because, as you and I have discussed before, money moves the needle, and TikTok's a big money generator for a lot of U.S.-based companies. So I think a deal will be made. The answer to your question about the future of our society with that, I think it's more about all of us needing to control what we can control and make sure that our kids have some serious rules in place around social media.
Howie Font, our lead analyst, has another question. I love when Howie asks questions because it makes me feel
No. I mean, we were
way less.
We were talking about safety and the guardrails you put on. What do you think is the right balance? Do you see the advertisers themselves that make these platforms valuable putting more pressure? I mean, YouTube has its adpocalypse. Facebook brought a lot of moderation back to Texas. I mean, are we better than we were 2 years ago, 5 years ago?
Gosh, I wish I could say yes, but I'm not sure that we are. And I put it in the hands of the parents. I mean, I'm right here doing it myself. And my best advice when the Charlie Kirk situation happened to not only parents, but also just people, is to take breaks. You need mental health breaks. You need to do it yourself. You need to put these apps in place to make sure that you are not doom scrolling day in and day out, because it's terrible for all of us.
I think better for me would be just get rid of the stupid little red dot that says how many text messages I've missed and how many phone calls I've missed, because I am like whack-a-mole on that thing.
We'll have a lesson after class.
I don't want to see that red dot anymore. If I don't see the red dot, then it doesn't exist, right?
You're good. No one's trying to get. Corey, are you amazed by the number of people that have cratered themselves on social media because of Charlie Kirk? And when I say cratered, I mean lost their jobs because of what they posted?
Yeah, I think that it's a tough situation, Mike. I mean, it's for all sides involved. It was a very terrible chapter in our country, and you just saw the worst of every different angle and every different side. And so I went out and I shot a video and I just said, get off social media. You're not going to change anyone's opinion, and nothing but bad is going to happen if you stick on the platform. So take a break, take a mental health break.
Hey,
Totally.
Hey, Corey, last question, and I ask you this almost every time. Anything popping up as the new latest, greatest to take over for Instagram or for Instacart's my favorite social media?
Yeah, you love Instacart, the cucumbers, and the broccoli, and all that. MySpace might making a comeback. I really just think it's AI right now. I think AI is the ticket, and all the same things that we're talking about with being able to dupe. We've talked about that before, and putting parameters in place around that. So AI is still an infant, and it's growing leaps and bounds every day. So I think that's in my crystal ball right now, is watching what that thing's going to do.
Corey Perlman, the social media keynote speaker. He is a welcome guest on the show every time, owner of Impact Social Media, Inc., CoreyPerlman.com, ImpactSocialMedia.com as well.